Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our latest webinar in the Votacall 1 series. Today, we're thrilled to explore a topic that's become more prominent in the last couple of years. You may have heard of it, a little thing called artificial intelligence. In this session, we'll be talking. Yay! Thought I was going to say love, didn't you? But I said artificial intelligence.
Oh.
In this session, we'll be talking about the role AI plays in VoIP technology. We have a great lineup of insights, examples, and expert perspectives to share, hence the other guy joining Dan and I today, which we're going to introduce shortly. So whether you're a tech enthusiast, a business leader, or simply curious about the future of VoIP and AI, you're in the right place. As usual, if you join us regularly, we're going to give folks a minute to join, so we'll do some introductions, go over housekeeping items, and get started. I'll introduce myself first. I'm Kyle. I'm a project manager here at Votacall. I onboard brand new customers, and I co-host this webinar series with Dan, the phone man.
Hello, everybody. Dan, the phone man here. Currently the director of sales engineering at Votacall, but I wear just a few different hats depending on, I guess, the year, the week. And happy to be here with Kyle and, get this all going for you guys. Kyle, keep on with your housekeeping.
Oh, sure. In the bottom right corner of your screen, you have a questions tab, which today that's going to play two roles. We want to make this webinar more interactive with you, so we'd like for you to use the questions tab to answer questions we're going to ask. So we'll ask some questions, put your answers in the questions tab, and of course, if you have any questions for us, feel free to submit your questions there. Only Dan and I can see anything submitted in the questions tab, and we'll make sure we take time to answer any questions. Next to the questions tab is a polls tab. We have a few polls in there that we're going to reference as we go along, but feel free to answer the polls when you have a chance. We're always looking to learn more about you. If you don't see a links tab down there, if you click apps, you'll then see links. We have links for resources, and we'll be referencing links as we go along. So let's get started. What are we learning today? So we're going to go over how does AI fit into VoIP? What verticals will AI influence? What is Votacall doing with AI? And we'll have a little question and answer session as well. So you're probably wondering, who's the new guy with us? Well, that's Sean. We gave him his own slide too. Sean, you want to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, hi, everybody. My name is Sean, AI engineer here at Votacall. I've been studying data science for about the last 8 years. I earned my master's in applied data science from Syracuse University, spring of 2024. Here at Votacall, I lead the AI initiatives from hands-on engineering to providing strategic recommendations. My focus is really on building a solid foundation for us to move smart and fast with AI.
All right. Well, welcome, Sean. We're really happy to have you here today.
Thanks, Dan.
And glad that you could make it and join us when we talk about these. For those of you who come to these a lot, and I do see a lot of familiar faces. First of all, thank you. We really appreciate. Unmute myself. All right. We really appreciate people coming and spending their time with us. We know how valuable everybody's time is every day. So last month we sort of started with our webinar on sentiment analysis and started our AI journey. And we decided we wanted to continue that and kind of let you guys know what we're talking about behind the scenes and where we see AI in telecom. But first and foremost, so let's talk about everyday AI, right? So how do you use AI in your everyday life? And we did actually throw a poll together for all of you guys, playing along at home. And we're hoping that you'll jump over to the poll section right now and just kind of fill that in for us. Kyle will throw a link up there if he hasn't already. And we can drop that if you just move over to the polls. And so how do you use AI? So, what are people using it for? We did, for our sentiment analysis, we got everybody together on our team and we started talking about how do people use AI. And I was pretty amazed at some of the responses. But we'll just start here with Kyle. How are you using AI?
Oh, yeah. So I guess I'll let my little secret out of the bag here. So that email everybody received to join Dan and I in this webinar, Well, I've been using ChatGPT to help write those webinar emails for the last several months, which seems like it's working because you're all here.
Yeah, no, I mean, it does. It seems like it's, we're getting some good numbers for these things. And, I think it's great to see people using it. Again, we've had, it looks like Stephanie says that she uses it for recipes. So, I think by all means, guys, throw some stuff in there if you want to tell us. If it's not on the poll, on the poll we have searching and coding, automation, etc. So, obviously we know whose answer was coding, but he'll get to that in a minute. I'm not a big like ChatGPT user or anything like that. And so things that I did was actually used it recently just to see. It's a little known fact that I'm in a band, or maybe some of you do know that. The name of my band is Other Brother Daryl, and I actually wanted to see what the web thinks about, or ChatGPT had to say about who we are. But in summary, Other Brother Daryl is a heartfelt amalgam of seasoned Boston musicians channeling lush harmonies, alt-country warmth, and cosmic folk rock vibes, rooted deeply in camaraderie and grounded by the acts of memory loss and creative renewal. So there you go. It was a pretty great review, probably better than all the reviews we've ever had, actually. So thanks to ChatGPT for that. And there's a link. If that sounded great to you guys, you can click on that link and go listen to some music. Anyway, so we're having some fun here. And so, Sean, before you tell us about yours, we were talking the other day, and it's actually a term, right? It's a ChatGPT moment. What does that mean?
Yeah, so in the industry, this term has come about, called the ChatGPT moment. ChatGPT was released in November of 2022, but I think everyone started to take a look at it at different points in time, and it really kind of struck people at different points in time. So, right, for me, I think it was during school. I had a project I had been working on for days. I had spent, I think, the previous night just working on this diagram. When I met up with my team the next day, I think one of my colleagues, he just threw the prompt into ChatGPT and was able to create just as good a diagram as I had been working on, the previous couple of days. So that was for me like a huge moment to see just how powerful it was. But I bring this outside of work. I love hiking, and for the next year, one of my goals is to hike the Presidential Traverse, and I'm using ChatGPT to help keep me safe, help plan the hike so that I can complete it during sunlight.
Well, yeah, that's probably a pretty good idea. And so, I think the idea, folks, and that's probably what brings you all here, right? There's someone in your company, or you personally are interested in how to use AI to make life easier, but that's really what it comes down to, right? We're using AI to create efficiencies, and to provide us information that maybe would take us a lot of time to organize ourselves. And so, how does that work in voice over IP? And what are we able to do in voice over IP to do this? And what are we offering for that? So I think that's why we're here, obviously. So let's talk about the products making a big impact in voice over IP, and then we'll also discuss Votacall and how we're using those. But before we get to that, Eric actually wrote that he uses ChatGPT to answer his kids' never-ending stream of questions, and to get custom grade level reading passages on topics they are actually interested in. So I've never thought of that, but that might actually be a great idea. So well done, and kudos. Hopefully you guys have jumped onto the polls tab and started to take a look at that. So if you joined us last month, then you saw our sentiment analysis, right? And you saw, what we're doing with that and how we're developing that. It is out and in the wild right now with some early adopters, and some other folks, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the people who are using that as we talk about some of the industries that are already starting to adopt AI. And so sentiment analysis, there's a link actually in there to go watch our previous webinars, and you can go watch the one on sentiment analysis. and you can spend a few minutes there, probably about 30. We try to keep these to 30 minutes if we can, but it's about 30 minutes long, and you can go learn about our product. There it is. We're getting good at this, Kyle. We're getting good at this. All right, so for all of you guys who just got that shot up on your screen, you can hit later, and then you can go find it in the links tab. I think that it kind of encompasses everything that we're doing, sentiment analysis. And then what Sean's going to start to talk about in just a minute is AI agents, assistants and receptionists, which is coming soon. It's what Sean and the team are working on. And we'll talk about why we decided to bring that in-house. And we'll talk a little bit about why we brought it in-house and why we didn't go white label some of the other stuff that's out there in the industry, and why that's important to us as a company. I think as you look at these two different things, sentiment analysis is obviously a little bit more historical. Sentiment analysis by definition is going to there's a recording of your phone call. It is going to listen to that call. It is going to analyze that call. And then it will offer some insight on that call through a summary, through keyword detection. And so it's a little bit more historical, whereas an AI agent is going to be more real time. Sean, do you want to, I know when we started talking about this, you elaborated on that much better than I'm going to. So I'm going to hand this back over to you.
No, that's a great point. Yeah, I think sentiment analysis is a great example of AI that runs in the background and provides you with more insights at the time that you're looking at reports or you're looking back on historical use, right? Now, AI agents and assistants, we're taking a step into having either your employees or your customers talking directly with AI in real time. So, we're looking to have AI give you insights on the spot. And so that's not something that we're really excited about.
Okay. Now, folks, I don't know, this is always an interesting question. And so we threw it into the polls, and hopefully you guys can go take a look at that. But in the poll, it says, how likely are you to try or use an AI agent? I think this is very much, for me, it goes all the way back to, voicemail. We used to go and sit in front of customers and say, hey, you can have an auto attendant. It'll answer your phone. And you would have some people who would say, you know what, this is the greatest thing that I've ever heard. It's going to answer my phone. It's going to free up the person at the front desk time, receptionist time to do other tasks. Calls will get routed. And then you had some other folks who said, absolutely not. I'm never going to have, a computer or a voice answer my phone. It's got to be live answer. I want that real human touch, right? And then we saw the same thing in speech enabled auto attendants, right? Some people saying like, well, I don't like them. I don't like how they work. You had people frustrated. You try to call your airline and you would have that experience and it wouldn't be great. And you'd speak to a live person. I mean, I think that probably everybody on this at some point has said, I just want to speak to a live person, right? And now we're at the next level of that, where AI is going to start actually interacting with people. So in the polls, we threw one up that how likely are you to try or use AI agents? And we'd love to see what you guys' response are on this, because obviously it's something that we're working on. Now, Sean, one of the reasons we talked about we're bringing AI agents or assistants, receptionists into in-house, and you elaborated on this. There are some white label things we could be doing out there. We have elected not to do those, but do you want to explain why? And this has to do with AI and modeling and why Votacall as a white glove provider has decided to build our own.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really our decision for how we're going to build and deliver AI really boils down to how AI learns and how we're able to build on top of these AI models. And so, one thing actually, when I was in school, my professor was explaining neural networks to us and how they learn. And it was actually one thing that made it really clear for me was kind of comparing it to kind of playing the hot or cold game, right? To find something while you have a blindfold on. No, this is a little demonstration. I think my professor did it. It might be a little simple for some people, but I think it was something that was really helpful for me. So Kyle, maybe we can try this out.
Sure.
Let's see. So what I'd like you to do is pick a random point on the back of on somewhere in my background, and I don't want you to tell me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find out where that point is using a similar methodology as how AI learns. Right. So first, you just got to pick a point. You have that point in your head, Kyle?
Got it.
All right. So I'm going to start just like AI. And first off, what we do is take kind of a guess as to where that might be. So I'm going to just go right in the middle and perhaps like right on the tip of my cap, maybe. Is this where you were thinking? Is this the point?
No.
Nope. All right. Well, I don't really know where to go, but I'm just going to take a guess and just go to my right here, maybe right where this darker panel meets the lighter panel. Is this the point that you were talking about?
Cold.
Colder? Okay. All right. So maybe it's on the other side. So I'm going to actually go all the way to the other side. I'm going to say right about here, Kyle. Is that about where the point is? Or am I getting hotter or colder?
You're getting hotter.
Hotter? Okay. Well, I'll just take a guess. I'm going to move up here, and let's go to this blue swoop here. Kyle, am I getting hotter or colder?
No, that's it. We won't drag it on any
That's
longer.
it. All right. So that is the demonstration that I think it made it clear in my mind. It is just like that. You provided examples, or you tell it. You have to just tell AI which direction it needs to go to act in the way that you want it to act, right? And Votacall sort of has this feedback loop built in. Kyle, I mean, what's our number one value?
Customer experience is the only metric.
That's right. So, I mean, I'm coming from the support team actually, and that was a huge point for me. I was able to work with customers for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it took, right, to figure out whatever we needed to deliver that customer experience. I think that has really evolved into this feedback loop where people are willing to tell us what they want because they know that, we're going to work really hard to go figure that out. And that's the same idea with AI is, we can take these examples for how it should act and train it so that Votacall has these industry leading AI agents.
So I think to tie all that together for all you guys at home, first of all, AI works a heck of a lot faster than Sean and Kyle at playing the hot and cold game. AI can also play the hot and cold game over and over again, thousands of times, very, very quickly, right? Kind of like the movie War Games, if you guys remember that. That was for Andy. I wanted to throw a War Games reference in there. But the idea is that, when we roll out these agents and, our customers reach out to us and say, hey, the agent didn't behave the way that I want it to. By us controlling our own model, what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to teach it how to behave better in that specific instance. And that's really, I think, why we've decided to bring this in-house. Now, Sean, I know you're working on this all the time, and everybody hates when I ask anything about, when something's going to be available, because they're always terrified that, myself and someone on the sales team will start making promises. But where are we in the process right now, as far as you are concerned with AI agents, receptionists, et cetera?
Well, it seems like each week we just make leaps and bounds towards, where we want to go. But I'd say overall, we're looking, by year's end to be having agents out in the real world, operating as receptionists or operating on the phones, for our customers.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about, and hopefully, again, I'm going to push you guys to the polls. Please try to fill those in today. It would be very, very helpful for us to just understand. We're looking for feedback and genuine feedback from our clients. So, what verticals are using voice over IP? Well, I think what we'll do is we'll start with our sentiment analysis, and we'll talk just a little bit about some of the verticals that we're seeing there. Obviously, a lot of verticals that are regulated or need for compliance reasons, need to store conversations, etc. Our sentiment analysis does a few different things. So let's talk about it. Well, first of all, it records a call, right? So after it's recorded the call, it will transcribe the call. So now you have a full transcription available to you. It will also then take a look at keywords, whether it's keywords that came up a lot just by nature. It will listen for those and identify those. And then you can also put in specific keywords, right? So if you're trying to understand, and I'll drop a little Easter egg out there for some of our clients who are on here right now. But if you're trying to understand how many calls on returns you took yesterday, this is going to give you, and you want to be able to track those calls and go listen to them. Or if somebody said the word supervisor and you want to be able to track that, then that's something that you can do. So we're starting to see it in call centers. We are starting to see it in, again, those regulated industries where people need to be storing information. We're starting to see it in support-based, we actually use it internally on our support team, right? And there's some specific words that we're looking for. But you can imagine in auto body shops, somebody calling into the parts department or somebody calling into the service department. Those are going to be areas where we're starting to have conversations about. And then, in addition to that, we're sorry, I just got thrown off by a question that just came over. So we'll jump to that, and we'll get back to you in a few minutes on that one. You broke my train of thought, Colleen. Well done. So we're starting to see it in some of those other industries coming across, and the adoption. We just did for some. I know there's a lot of law folks here. So we just had this our sentiment analysis turned on for transcription and summary purposes. So that recorded lines, so that you could just take it, get that summary, and then you can go in and download it. You can save it later on. So again, rather than have somebody sitting and listening, I mean, everybody remembers that used to be the way it goes. You'd have to go through phone calls and somebody would sit and listen and they would type out what the phone call was all about. Now that's all being done. That's AI. So that's pretty good. I'm glad you're laughing, Colleen. I bet I turned red there. You got me. Okay. So we're starting to see it being adopted in some of these verticals. Now, the question is, and this is why we wanted to focus on those polls, was, how many of you folks see yourselves, again, starting to think about using like an AI agent or an AI receptionist? And to give you guys some perspective on some of the things that it could do. Maybe you call into a doctor's office and the doctor's office says, hey, to make an appointment, press X. Which doctor would you like to make an appointment with? Okay, what day would you like to make the appointment? An agent could do that for you and then schedule an appointment for you. And I think that's one of the use cases that Sean was taking a look at as we started to research this. And Sean, am I correct there?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Routing phone calls, support, and answering quick questions for people. We envision this at some point in time being able to, if somebody called in for a password reset on a voicemail box, AI could do that. Right. So these are the kind of things that we're seeing for the future, and we're really excited about it. And Sean, you got through that whole thing without talking about when we thought this would be available, but I'll let that go. But folks, look for an announcement from Votacall coming fairly soon about when AI agents will be available to test. And as always, we'll be looking for some early adopters. I'm going to get to the question that I got asked now. So sentiment analysis, how much is sentiment analysis? Well, as you know, at Votacall, everything is included in our license, the Votacall One license. And our sentiment analysis dashboard and insights are included. But because, we did not, for translations and listening and summaries and all those things, we did not go out and build our own AI to do that. So it is a per minute charge. And it is 0.015 per minute. So, less than a toll-free call. But when you start to do the math on something like that, and you break it out, you take a look at like 40 hours, and I'll do it quick on my calculator. I should know this by now because I've used this example a couple times. But for something to listen to 40 hours of calls times 60 minutes times 0.015, so is $36. For someone to listen to 40 hours worth of phone calls, right? So I'm pretty sure you couldn't get to hire anybody for $36 to listen to a week's worth of phone calls, transcribe those for you, create a summary for you, and then that would be listening for keywords and send notifications on negative phone calls, etc. So when we figure out the value of that, obviously it is huge. Okay. Do any of you guys have any questions for us?
I have a question.
Anybody? Yeah, go ahead, Kyle.
So there's a lot of different companies, AI companies and platforms available now. How is one AI different from another?
That's a great question. I think I can probably address this. So there are a lot of different models out there, and when new models come out, you may hear in the news how that they've been performing on recent benchmarks. These benchmarks, it's like public tests that engineers will put these models through. But at the end of the day, really what you need to do is test out a model for your specific use case, right? So, we're looking at different verticals. Each vertical is going to have examples of how these agents should act. And that is the benchmark that you need to be really worried about, right? So how do you find out which models are best for your business is you test it out and you see.
Okay. Thanks, Sean. And we just had a question come in too. Would this tool be able to use API to file the transcript to the company management system to that specific customer folder?
Okay, so we do, yeah. I mean, the answer is yes. I'm assuming that you're talking about sentiment analysis, so I'll go ahead and answer that. I mean, we do have an API. We are able to take that information. We probably need to do some custom work with whatever your company management system is. And then potentially if it has an API, we should be able to make the two talk to each other and to store that information. So Bruno, if you want us to reach out after this, just throw a quick yes in there, and we will, or just reach out to support. Always a good time to tell you guys. Sean started in our support team. Even though he was incredibly, too far overqualified with his master's degree in AI. But he started on our support team, as always, because we hire great communicators. And that's, again, so that's, I need to turn the questions tab off because you keep getting me. All right, so I'm shutting my questions tab, hang on. And so don't forget, we are a 24/7, 365 support organization. If you have any questions, if you have anything you want to ask us, you want to talk about, using AI, reach out to us, say, hey, I watched the webinar. I'd like to have a quick conversation. We'll get you directed, tell us what it is you're thinking about doing. We'll get you directed to the right person and we'll get that started. I'm Colleen. I will reach out to you after this call and we will get all your questions answered. The answer is minutes. We could have you up and running by the end of the day, or within an hour, to be honest. Yeah, I'll reach out after this is over. Okay. Oh, Eric has commented, I heard AI makes things up sometimes. If we start using Votacall's AI agent, how do we make sure the agent isn't telling our customers things that are wrong? Sean, I'm going to give you this one.
that another really great question. And so, yeah, these things, they're called hallucinations, right? When you ask a question and the model doesn't know anything as a fact, but it wants to answer your question, so it tries its best. And it gives you made up information. So this has been a focus of research for as long as these models have existed. And it ends up going back to whatever you want to make sure these AI agents are doing, you need to evaluate those. Luckily for us, there's actually a lot of pre-made benchmarks, these evals, that already exist that help people understand the uncertainty, right, with using these models. So instead of it being just a black box, you do have some results of a test that indicate to you, where the model does really well and where it might fail, so that you have that understanding before using it.
Okay. Great question with a great answer, which I almost understand. But that's why we have Sean here. So he's there to help us and lead us to the promised land. So all right, again, I hope you guys have done your polls. Kyle just changed us to the resources. Don't forget www.votacall.com/one-training for our training videos. You can always reach support.votacall.com or support@votacall.com if you want to send an email. And then if you want to watch some of our webinars, you can go to votacall.com/webinar. Again, all of that is in the links. It's also in the links with our customer love page. If anybody wants to participate in customer love, just let us know. And our LinkedIn page, if you haven't, please go over there and follow and like us. I wish we still had that smash that like button thing, but we don't. But that would be fun because it always makes Kyle giggle. All right. I hope you guys have had fun. I hope this has been informative. Again, we're pretty excited over here. Be on the lookout for, as we start to talk about agents, AI agents for you and your company, and you want to get involved, please do. Our early adopters obviously get direct access to us and help shape what we're going to be doing. So if you think that that's a part of a program that you'd like to be on, please let us know. We hope we've given you just a little bit of insight. If you were trying to figure out how you were going to use AI in telecom, or you've been asked that question, then this is obviously, hopefully we've given you some guidance. And for anybody who is interested in our sentiment analysis, please let us know. I know we have at least one person we're reaching out to when this is over. So I will say thank you from me, and I'll hand it up to Kyle.
Thank you, everybody, and thanks for joining us today, Sean.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, everyone, and we got you in on under half an hour, so well done, everyone, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.